and a very warm welcome to all of you. I'm Meha Bhardwaj Alter, and we're talking about the big match tonight. Now, the race is red hot, in fact, for the playoffs places, because there are 3 places still up for grabs in the playoffs, and there are still 5 teams that have a realistic chance of making it to the next round. Punjab Kings lost their match to Delhi Capitals last night, and that was good news for the rest of the teams that are in contention for the playoffs, as they would want any advantage that they can get. Now, Punjab can only get to 14 points, and there are 3 teams that already have 14 points or more. Tonight, it's not one of the top 4 teams, but it is the number 5 team, Royal Challengers Bangalore, who have 12 points after 12 games against Sunrisers Hyderabad. And they are playing in Hyderabad at the Rajiv Gandhi Stadium. Now, Faf du Plessis and his team are coming off a statement win over Rajasthan Royals after beating them by 112 runs, and with it, giving their net run rate a huge boost. Sunrisers Hyderabad is a team that has underperformed throughout this season, but they are playing for pride and would not want to finish right at the bottom. Joining me is Jamie Alter and Kushan Sarkar, and we look ahead to this game, but we'll also talk about the playoff scenario and how that has changed after Punjab Kings lost to Delhi Capitals. So thank you so much, guys, for taking the time out to join us. Let me start with Jamie. Can Sunrisers Hyderabad do what DC did to Punjab Kings today against Royal Challengers Bangalore? They are at home. They know the conditions much better than Faf du Plessis and the team.
Again, just like yesterday, can they? Yes. Will they? Not so straightforward. I'm sure we'll spend some time on this show discussing yesterday's match and the blunders made by both the teams. But look, Hyderabad are one of those teams, several teams in fact, who have not figured out how to win at home. You know, just like Bangalore have had next to no home advantage when playing at the Chinnaswamy, Hyderabad are in a similar boat, right? And given the tactical blunder that Aiden Marker made the last time in the last match in a must-win game, I actually felt, more obvious bias aside, I actually felt Delhi had a much better chance yesterday than Hyderabad do right now. Looking at the Hyderabad team, I just don't see where this misfiring team is going to pose a threat to Bangalore.
Yeah. Last night, I thought Delhi wanted, or at least tried very hard to lose, but they just couldn't do it, given the number of catches they dropped. Kushan, I know you have very strong views on Delhi Capitals, but we're not going to get into the match from last night. We're talking about Royal Challengers Bangalore and how this is a classic case, and we've discussed this before in our shows, how this is a classic case of 3 absolutely outstanding batters who've been carrying this team on their backs to have taken them to this position where they're almost through to the playoffs. I know they have to win the game today as well as the next one, but this is just 3 batters who've taken this team all the way.
And the fact is that RCB is the only team that has got their fate in their own hands among the teams which are all clubbed together, juxtaposed together. They have their fate in their own hand. All they need to do is just win their matches. Do not think about anything else. Just win your 2 games. Now it depends on these 3 batters, obviously. And RCB, as Robin Uthappa yesterday during the broadcast was saying, that they make calculators be handy at the end of the business end of the tournament. Everyone needs their calculators because RCB is there, and everyone is doing their math as to see whether they can qualify or not. So in that context, obviously, these top 3 players, Faf, the skipper, Virat Kohli, and Glenn Maxwell, these 3, their contributions will be important. But having said that, Mahipal Lomrod has chipped in. Anuj Rawat, after a long time, did well in that last. Although his contribution, I believe that basically, you can call it, broke the proverbial camel's back. They didn't expect Anuj Rawat to score 20-odd runs in the 20th over.
Yeah.
And often it happens that at the end, at the business end or at the death, if you get hit like that after controlling the game for 16, 17 overs, suddenly you are back in the dugout or back in the dressing room and deflated. You thought that you had it in control and suddenly it slipped away. And it might have happened with Rajasthan that they felt very bogged down. They felt very morose that they had let it slip.
Yeah.
So and that can spell doom. So RCB, a lot of things are falling in place, like Anuj Rawat's batting, that finisher's role, which they haven't got right till now. They got it against Rajasthan Royals, and they will hope to get it right again. And I believe, Meha, that like lightning doesn't strike twice. Yes, it happened with the Delhi Capitals, but I would like to believe that RCB will not make the same mistakes that Kings 11 Punjab made. And at least I give a lot of credit to Shekhar Dhawan that he was honest enough in admitting that
Yeah.
he made some tactical blunders, including Harpreet Brar being given the last over, went for 23. At least he admitted. A lot of people would say that had it gone right, then it would have looked different. But he admitted that that was a tactical blunder.
That also, I think that also goes on to show the lack of trust they have in Arshdeep Singh at the moment. You know, we've talked about this on our shows as well, where he's getting the wickets, but he's really not being able to control the runs. He's going at a much higher economy. The fact that they gave it to Harpreet Brar, and of course that backfired on Punjab Kings, and they're all but out really of this this tournament. But coming back to Royal Challengers Bangalore, Jamie, it's not just the top three. I think their bowling, we've got to give credit to how well their new ball bowlers have bowled, especially Mohammad Siraj, and he'll be playing at home in front of his home crowd. So that'll be interesting to see. Virat Kohli and the team have already gone to his house. You know, so there's a tiny backstory there. It's a place that he loves to play in. How do you see that panning out, given that Mohammad Siraj has really been in the form of his life this IPL?
Yeah, he's had a very, very good IPL. I think he's taken 16 wickets. Majority have come in the power play. And if you open up RCB's stats page, his economy is the best for anyone who's bowled as many overs. So yes, he's taking wickets, but he's kept the runs around that 7 mark, which is outstanding. Look, it's not the first time that he's hosted a team. The Indian team also, when they were playing in Hyderabad, has been there, and it's just a nice feel-good side story, right? Of course, the big entourage is cricket. The IPL rolls. The IPL, especially more than any other bilateral series, it rolls through these cities for a day, maximum 2 days. So when you see pictures of Mohammad Siraj, of course, given his I would say less than humble background, very nice to see how far he's come and what he's been able to do for his family and host the team, in what seems like a fairly lavish setup. Now, coming to him playing in front of Hyderabad, we've seen, the Hyderabad fans, the last time the match was going on, play was stopped because people were chanting Kohli, and then something apparently was thrown near the dugout. So it's not like there's some very safe crowd like what you see at the Chipok. There have been instances. Now, your photo on the screen just shows how कभी-कभी ये अपने जज्बात पे काबू नहीं रख पाता ना. So I'm very keen to see if the crowd start, maybe Siraj is down at the boundary, if the crowd starts to heckle him for being a Hyderabadi playing for the opposition, how that might pan out. But knowing the professional that he is, he'll probably just shut it out because he has a job to do, and that is to maintain his consistency, because Bangalore need to win these 2 matches to get into the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. I think their fate is in their own hands at the moment, and they'd want to keep it that way. But let's talk about Faf du Plessis and also the contrast with the captain of Sunrisers Hyderabad, Aiden Markram, who's had who's not been able to score runs for his team. But on the other hand, you have Faf du Plessis, Kushan, who's really, I mean, how do you explain the kind of form that he's in? Because it's one thing that you are holding up one end as an opener for your side, given that it's the top 3 who are scoring runs for you. But to be able to strike at 150 plus in the tournament and then score these runs, where you've left everybody else behind, I mean, that shows the Herculean effort that he's had to put in, in his team.
Now, about Faf, Meha, Faf is around 35 plus, I believe, and he doesn't play international cricket anymore. But he is one of the most sought after T20 freelancers, and that helps. He's only playing this format, and he's playing across the globe. He knows how to control situation, and when you are playing only this format, to remain relevant, you improvise. you change your game in such a manner that you can play till you are 40, because this is only your source of earning. This is your livelihood. So you have to be a professional. You have to think out of the box, and he has been doing that. And that is why, as we had discussed earlier, that from 130 or 129, 130 odd strike rate, it has gone up to nearly 160 this time.
Yeah.
And that has got to do with, and that also reflects the kind of a team man he is. He's leading from the front. He is the captain. He's not telling others. He's practicing what he wants to preach. He's playing that, and he's telling the Mahipal Lomros and the Anuj Rawat, look, this can be done.
Yeah.
You can do it if I can do it at the top. Yes, it's obviously easier batting at the top with power play. You get that more elbow room than you require. But he's also letting Virat Kohli play his game, which is probably 18 of 18 balls or 20 of 20 balls, and then ultimately ending with 60, 65 or 42 or 43, which is Virat Kohli's game now, with his range and the way he plays. So he is letting Virat Kohli play his game, and Glenn Maxwell coming after that, knowing that Maxwell will tee off. Obviously, there will be those odd days against quality spinners that will be there, but still, this time Glenn Maxwell has had, like, I know once I wrote at the beginning that is he a good ROI for all these years. Teams have so much of faith. Probably yes. He has done more than what, if you ask me as a cricket fan or as an analyst, what I expected. He has done more this time, and it has got a lot to do with, I believe, playing matches at Chinnaswamy also.
Yeah.
Playing 7 matches at Chinnaswamy always helps. And you look at his record at Chinnaswamy vis-a-vis other grounds.
Yeah.
So that has helped. So these 3 have done the yes. You do not know what happens if it's 12 for 3 in 4 overs.
No, absolutely.
That day can come.
Yeah, then can your Mahipal Lomros and Anuj Rawat do something? That's the big question.
Yes.
Do you see?
The character will come.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's put this question to all the viewers as well. Who do you think will win tonight? It is a must-win game really for Royal Challengers Bangalore. Sunrisers Hyderabad have nothing to lose. They're not the team that are under pressure. It is the Royal Challengers Bangalore. So who do you think will win tonight? Do let us know in the comments section below. We'll take your comments. But also, just coming back to that conversation and taking it further, Jamie, Sunrisers Hyderabad, nothing has gone right for them. Just like Delhi Capitals, we were discussing this yesterday. On paper, this team looked very good. You and I had this conversation before the IPL started, and you said, look, I think Sunrisers Hyderabad have a very good team, and I see them going all the way. But nothing has worked for them. And it didn't help that their captain was not being able to score runs. So, except Henrik Klassen, unexpected player who's put his hand up and said, look, I'm going to score runs for you. And he's striking at 180 odd. Then there is Rahul Tripathi, who's, scored some runs. Everybody else just couldn't deliver for the team.
Yeah, absolutely. We've discussed this before. The Indian talent has been either has not shown up, or it's been very inconsistent. Overseas player Aiden Markram is going to have to be the first to put up his hand, because they gave him the captaincy largely because of how good he was in the middle order last year. I think David Miller, widely speaking, will get the praise for being the best finisher. But you look at Aiden Markram's stats. I think he averaged around 50 batting at number 4, sometimes 5.
Yeah.
So just the tag that was attached to his name as captain of this franchise, he's got 150 in 12 something, 13 innings, 11 innings. He's pretty much been a no-show. He's been a decent captain. He's been an outstanding fielder. I'm surprised he's not bowled himself, because on the odd occasion he's actually taken wickets. He has to put up his hand. But then you look beyond, Harry Brook, we know he got that 100, but in 8 subsequent innings, the guy's not got to 20 runs. So he's up there with Sam Curran and Jofra Archer as one of the biggest overseas duds, given the fact that he went for 13.5 crores. Now you talk about the no-show, you talk about inconsistency. When your leading run getter has only 326 runs, and your leading wicket taker has 14 wickets, of which 5 were basically gifted to you in the last match. That means before the last match, that Bhuvneshwar had 9 wickets. How can your leading wicket taker have 9 wickets, coming into the playoff stage? It's been a colossal failure from start to finish. And that coaching staff, I think we discussed this last time, and Kushan, who was being very respectful when he was describing the stats analyst, but what is all that stats data? I'm a firm believer that there's jagah hai stats or data ke liye, but it cannot be your main source. I just get the feeling again from someone far, far away peering into that Hyderabad crystal ball. They blundered on so many counts.
Yeah. It didn't help that their openers weren't giving them the start they wanted. And, Abhishek Sharma had been playing well for them last season, but this season just could not, wasn't really consistent. Yes, Jamie?
But even there, right? Abhishek Sharma, where did he get those 427 runs last year? Where? Opening, right? But to accommodate Harry, you started with Harry Brook in the middle order. 3 match में चल नहीं चलो इसको opening कराएंगे. It took Abhishek Sharma to give a very candid and a very praiseworthy comment. I've gone to coach sir and said, sir, put me back opening, right? A kid in his mid-20s, early 20s shouldn't have to say that, right? So Abhishek Sharma, yes, he's not had a season that we expected him from, but then you've also there are some players, Sehwag, Lakshman, you put them anywhere, they'll do a job. Some players aren't like that. They want to feel कि हम वहीं खेल रहे हैं जहां पे हमारा best है ना, and he clearly didn't feel good in the middle over, so you lost him for 3-5 matches. So it just goes back to, I mean, you have Lara, Muralidharan, what's happening, so.
Yeah. Kushan, you have a take on this, Sunrisers Hyderabad's failed campaign. I compare it to DC, and I see similarities there with Sunrisers Hyderabad as well as DC. Both foreign captains, Indian players not clicking, huge support staff.
Yeah, like I put it in an academic perspective. Like you need to be a good student to be a good teacher, but all good students are not good teachers. What is Brian Lara's pedigree as a coach? Brian Lara was a genius. You give him the bat today, he will still hit that late cut. Yeah, he will come out and probably launch into Yuzvendra Chahal and deposit him if he has the strength in those forearms. He's a genius. He could do things that no one else could have done. That's why he was peerless. He and Sachin Tendulkar were in a different league. They were geniuses. But is Brian Lara, you got him as a mentor. He will speak to people. He will fine-tune them. He will probably give them a bit of an advice about their range and stroke. But Brian Lara as a tactician, like, why didn't West Indies use him till now? Obviously, he can say that I didn't want to be used by the West Indies because West Indies national cricket team doesn't have money. I want to be part of franchisee thing. But again, you have to understand that, is he a shrewd tactician? Have we got enough of evidence, empirical evidence that he has that? I have my doubts. Like, we do not have much evidence. Just putting in a big player, a player of stature over there. You are having Murli for so many years now. What Murli could do, can any of the spinners now do? Murli could turn the ball on glass. Murli, if you needed 7 runs in the last over, you could give the ball to Murli, and probably the batsman would not score more than 3 runs, and there will be 2 stumps and 1 ball.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that Murli students would be able to replicate that. It is not that simple. It is not that easy. Ashish Nehra isn't one of Indian cricket's legends. But Ashish Nehra is coming out to be a fantastic coach, a good tactician, and a good man manager. A good man manager. In IPL, man management, because IPL, you have at least 60% of stars playing. You don't need to teach the stars what to do. They all know. They have been there, done that. All you need to do is to mix and match those Indian talent along with the star and get the best out. Riddhiman Shah is not playing for India. He is not your... Yes.
Okay, we'll try and connect with Kushan again. But Jamie, valid point there from Kushan saying that, it's not necessary if you've been a legendary player that you'll be a legendary coach, that you'll be, an astute tactician. But let's also talk about another topic that we've been discussing on this show, and somehow we see captains when they go out there, they do completely the opposite of what we think they would do, which is in a situation like the ones that we find teams in at the moment, where it's a must-win match for Royal Challengers Bangalore. It was a must-win match for Punjab Kings. And given that you don't want scoreboard pressure, these captains go on to choose fielding, as opposed to batting first. The obsession of chasing. I know that, Mahendra Singh Dhoni and Virat Kohli did like to do that, even in the Indian team setup. But this year, this is proving to be, dangerous for teams chasing, especially if they have to chase down 200 plus. I know 200 plus have been chased down. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that scoreboard pressure is real in this situation now.
Absolutely. And look, I remember the 2021 IPL was split. It happened in the UAE. Literally, probably, I don't know, I'm guessing 90% of matches were all being chased. The toss was being done and the teams were chosen to chase. Then the same thing happened because 2 weeks later, the T20 World Cup was played. Then it got to a point where experts were saying, why is this becoming just so straightforward? Why is the toss, being termed like this? Now, this year, dew, yes, there's been some dew, but dew is not widespread, by and large, been as big a factor. It's been a very warm, it's been a very dry North Indian spring or onset of summer. And still, teams are still saying, let's go and chase. Now, I did some digging up. It's not just yesterday's match. It's not just the match before. In the last 8-9 days, when the business end of this IPL has started to heat up, there have been teams like Gujarat, who've been sitting at number one for weeks now, but in that search to qualify, have also made mistakes. Okay, Let's go to Hyderabad. Hyderabad, like you said, there are similarities between DC. Hyderabad were struggling. Okay, Gujarat Titans come, they choose to field. Shubman Gill gets 100, and the match is put beyond their reach. Okay, 2 days before, David Warner, okay, they're out, but you had the chance to be that banana peel. Okay, he chose to put in Punjab. Punjab won by 31 runs. When you win beyond 20-25 runs, it's a big margin in T20. Okay,
yes.
On May 12th, in that match in which Hardik Pandya, had they beaten Mumbai, they would have qualified. He gave Mumbai batting. Sky gets at 100. They put up 218 for 5, and they win by 27 runs. 4 days prior, Krunal Pandya wins the toss, puts Gujarat into bat. Saha scores 83. Kushan will be very happy to remember that match. And they get 227 for 2. I just given you 6 examples in the last 10-12 days when must-win situation teams are choosing. And ever since Kushan revealed that lovely statement from the coach who said, when in doubt, bat. When you're certain, bat. I cannot get that refrain out of my head because that's exactly what we think. Kushan, we play cricket every Saturday. When in NCR, the logic is just bat, right? How can things be so different? I know the golden rule in T20s is chase, right? But it drives me insane when we see these captains say, I'm not quite sure what a good target is. Here's a tip. Why don't you aim for 210? You are international players. अगर आपको लगता है कि पहले 6 ओवर में यार यहाँ तो 210 नहीं बनेंगे, recalibrate and go for 185. Absolutely. Why is Rohit saying पता नहीं यार, लेकिन उस पिच पे जहाँ पे 135 चेस नहीं हो रहा था, you get 177. Yesterday we discussed relayed pitch. Kushan said it's been a long time, there's been no cricket, but it's Dharamshala. There's runs offer. The ball is going. The team which barely struggled to make 150, you let them get to 213 for loss of 2 wickets. Wouldn't you want to be the team in a knockout match? Do you want to be chasing 213 or setting 213? It's as simple as that.
But that's what I'm trying to understand. Why is it that there is this obsession of chasing? Are you not trusting your batsmen enough, Kushan?
No, this obsession with chasing has a lot to do with at the business end of the tournament, this is my theory, it could be wrong. If you can chase in a certain number of overs, you get that flip in your NRR, which goes a long way. So a lot of teams like...
For that you need to win the match. NRR comes into play if you have the points.
Like if you are chasing a middling score like 150 or 160 in 15 overs at 10, which is possible. Teams have done that in the past and teams will do that in future more frequently. your net run rate gets a boost. So that is there. Like, you know what is necessary. Like, now I'll give you a simple equation. Punjab, in order to get into, like, it's a like a 1% kind of a chance to
Correct.
get into the playoffs, but Punjab has to win their last match, and apart from that, they have to see that the difference between their win and Mumbai Indians losing their last match is 46 runs, whatever be the way. Like,
Yeah.
if Mumbai lose by 36 runs and Punjab win by 10 runs, then they have a better run rate than Mumbai Indians. If they win by 26 and Mumbai lose by 20, somehow their win and Mumbai's loss, the cumulative difference has to be 46 in order to have a better NRR. And apart from that, some of the other results that they need to go their way. So you can understand that in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We'll try and reconnect with Kushan, but valid, again, Jamie, you know, what Kushan was saying makes sense. But my point is simple. All of this comes into play if you end up losing the game or if you end up winning the game. In this case, if you end up winning the game, right? Your net run rate will come into play if you won and you've got enough points on the board. But in this case, what has happened to Punjab? Now they find themselves in a position, had they batted first, maybe things would have been different where they could have won the game. Like you said, they could have set that total of 213 instead of chasing it then and crumbling under the pressure of that score. There's no point now in that net run rate if you don't have enough points to get you to qualify. So I get what Kushan is saying, but I also feel like scoreboard pressure right now is a dangerous thing for these teams, and something that we've seen now, as you were mentioning as well, people collapsing under that pressure.
No, Kushan is absolutely right in raising the net run rate factor, and you're also equally right in saying what's the point when you lose, right? But I'm saying we don't even need to get that technical, that analytical, right? Do you want to be the team trying to put the other team under pressure by scoring 210, or do you want to be chasing 210? Rohit Sharma has by default, because of a crocked bowling attack, come to the think, yaar, we actually are better off chasing. But that works in Mohali, that might work in Chinnaswamy, and it'll definitely work at the Wankhede. Wankhede, Meha, is the best batting strip in the country. Ask Delhi Daredevils, where do you want to have your home matches? They'll say Wankhede and Dharamshala, right?
Delhi
Rohit
would say
Sharma,
anywhere but Delhi.
Blunder.
Yeah.
David Warner pretty much said that. But when you know, looking at prima facie, 6 matches before your match at the Ikana Stadium in Lucknow, batting second is going to become progressively tougher because the pitch will slow down. Your batsmen have primarily scored runs at the Wankhede. Be flexible, change your template. I'm not surprised that day was the one day when Suryakumar Yadav missed his bread and butter shot and got bowled because the pitch was not conducive to sky level of batting, right? It's not week 1, it's not week 2. This is the tensest IPL perhaps ever. And in that, you need to just be a bit more flexible. Why are you being rigid? Net run rate, absolutely spot on. But it just comes down to, I mean, you need to back your batsman. Now, someone can say, you're talking rubbish, Jamie. The fact that they're choosing the chase means they're actually putting more faith in their batsman. Yes, but you're putting your faith in batsmen in a different situation, right? Why don't teams go out looking to go for 210 every match?
I think yesterday was the fear of unknown because, like Kushan said, you didn't know what the strip was going to be like. And that's probably the reason why they chased. There was also the dew factor. But I know.
I could have told you that pitch was Delhi choked a little bit. Delhi should have put 220. If I can sit in Noida and say there's 200 runs up there, what is all these tactical and experts and stats? What is this fear of the unknown? Right. Back first.
Yeah. Well, that's how they see it. But that's why we love this game, because we can have these debates and conversations around it where nobody is right, nobody is wrong. Frankly, I love the fact that there are times when especially Rohit Sharma comes out and says, I really don't know what to do. And I think he's being honest, because a lot of times they don't know what they want to do. The best is when Mumbai were playing against Punjab, he says, whatever Shikhar Dhawan will say, I'll do that. So Shikhar Paji jo ye kahenge, I will do that. And Shikhar says, yeah,
if if I can just add, it's all lovely. We've all had a great time talking about Rohit's chilled out attitude, Shikhar Dhawan's chilled attitude, but there's a fine line, and both these captains will have known that you cannot take things itne halke mein na. Yesterday, a lovely tweet came to one of my reply came. I've never seen such a non-serious captain than Shikhar Dhawan. I'm like, ye kya hai? But I thought about it. He's actually got a point, right? He had the easiest job. He had the easiest job last year in global cricket. He had to step in when Rohit was on break. He had to lead a team of kids, win series against Zimbabwe, Bangladesh, put out some fantastic reel. That's it. But there's a fine line, you know. And
Acha.
Kushan is right. I'm very glad yesterday he was so forthright. But sometimes you take things too chilled out, na? It affects your team. This is why both these teams are now on the line when it comes to the playoff.
Okay. So you've cued me to our next video, and I'm being told by my producers that we should be going to the points table and scenarios. But let's get this, because this is another captaincy debate. You've said Shikhar Dhawan, is he, does he take it lightly, the captaincy bit? Here is a video that I'm going to play out for our viewers. This is KL Rahul, India's star opener, and I'm going to get you both to react to what he has to say. India's star opener has spoken about his captaincy and what he thinks is his style of captaincy in an interview, as you can see, with YouTuber Ranveer Allabadia. KL Rahul, we know as Captain Punjab. In the past, he's the captain of Lucknow Super Giants, but he's had to miss this season after he suffered a thigh injury and he had to undergo surgery for it. He's also been the standing captain for India in 3 test matches, as well as 7 ODIs and 1 T20I. Listen into what he has to say about his own captaincy style. If you could play that video for our viewers.
Because a captain is only as good as his team, right? That I realized really early, that no matter how good I am, if the other 10 players or my whole team is not on the same page, there's nothing I can do, right? So it's very important for me to make sure that the whole team is on the same page, right? Like that is the effort a captain has to make. That's the energy that he has to spend to get his team on the same page, like build a relationship with each person. And that was, for me, a little hard. It was a little challenging because I can be quite reserved. Like, I don't like going into someone's space and like trying to start a conversation. Like, I don't like when someone else does that to me, because I'm probably sitting and thinking something about my own game and someone comes and talks to me and tells me something. I just feel disturbed. So I don't like doing that. So I always, like, for the first season or first couple of seasons, I was like, okay, everyone will know what they need to do. So let me not get into their space and like let me not impose myself as a captain. I'll just be a leader on the field. I'll take the calls on the field, and rest, like, let people look after themselves. But like, my learning was that you need to get everybody on the same page. You need to build a relationship. You need to have a bond with each player where they're willing to fight for you on the field, right? Yeah. That is something that you need to create, and that's something that I've learned. Like, I've been lucky that I've been captained by such great leaders.
Okay, so the captain is as good as his team. Thoughts, gentlemen? Kushan?
Yes, a captain is as good as his team, but then the captain at times needs to be as good as his team. If I'm able to make some sense, like, it's fine to say all these things, but at the end of the day, then you have to lead from the front. And if you are reserved, then don't be ambitious and don't harbor those ambitions of leading India for the long time. You cannot be a leader and at the same time you have to be reserved. Those days are gone. Yes, people know their roles. You don't want to intrude, but as a manager, just leading the team of 10 on the field isn't good enough. You have to understand them. You have to understand from where they come. You have to understand how they've learned their cricket and everything. And this is, I'm talking in the context not just about an IPL team, which is an assortment of players from across the globe for a period of 2 months. I'm talking about a man who was aspiring to be an all-format India captain only a few months back and was being thought about. And I'm not saying that the time has gone that he won't again be the captain. He might again be Meha, the test captain.
Sure.
Because once Rohit Sharma is done with his test captaincy and Ravichandran Ashwin is also 37 right now, you actually won't have anyone left who could be a test captain until and unless Shubman Gill proves his mettle and gets ready.
True.
There will be a phase where probably we'll again go back to him as the captain. You'll
Good
not
point.
have an option. I'm talking about test cricket. I'm not talking about white ball cricket. And if this is how you think, you have to respect someone's thought process. But I don't think then that person is good enough to lead the national team. Let him bat. He's a terrific batsman. Let him bat, score his runs, and let those runs win matches for your country.
See, he's being very honest in what he's saying, so we've got to appreciate his honesty. But Jamie, this is something that I think captains, when you're made the captain, and I know that everybody harbors that ambition. You know, if you're a good batter, you're doing well in the team, at some point or the other, you think of leading the team. But your own personality, your own temperament, that plays a huge role. And he's speaking very honestly where he says that, look, I wasn't a very outgoing, very social person. I felt like I didn't want to be disturbed, you know, and I didn't want to also impose myself on the others. Honest, but a very, how do I put it? I think a lot of players might be dealing with something like this, especially the ones who feel like they could be captains.
Look, I am not going to sit here and try and comment on a guy who's just coming off surgery. He must have a lot of issues. But while KL Rahul, in those 2-3 minutes of that clip, while he was enlightening us on the meaning of life, I quickly chose to sort of drift away, and I just pulled up his captaincy record, okay, or his matches. Let me tell you, Meha and Kushan, for 2005, he captained Karnataka under 15s in the Pauli Umrigar Trophy. Okay, 2005. Okay, where are we in now? 2023. He captained in the 2005-2006 season. Okay, 2007 he captained Karnataka under 17s in the Vijay Merchant Trophy. This is 2007-08. Then for 2 years there's a gap. 2 years later he captained Karnataka under 19s. We've gone from under 15s, under 17s, under 19s. This was the Vinu Mankar Trophy, Meha and Kushan, in 2009. Okay. Then 2011, he captained South Zone under 19 in a BCCI under 19 zonal tournament. Okay. 1 match, 2 matches, 3 matches. 3 years later, he captains in a Karnataka Premier League match. Okay. So look at the jump now. Okay. Uske baad, 2014, he next captains in 2021. Suddenly, he's captaining a Punjab franchise, right? He has never captained India A. He's never captained a state team. What has he led people to believe that he's a leader? Under 15, under 17, under 19, won Karnataka Premier League, and 7 seasons later, he's leading an IPL team. Who has blundered by putting this lovely man as a captain? He's not shown. Kushan, the prerequisite for leading an IPL team should be to captain your state team? Karnataka selectors never viewed this guy as a captain, right? Now, starting from 2020 September onwards, okay, that's when IPL was shifted. The second thing, usse pehle kabhi nahi bana wo. Look at the contrast. Where did KL Rahul in 2021, 22, where did KL Rahul end up? Top 3 run getters. Where did his respective teams end up? 9, 8, 10, right? So, with due respect, he's not a leader.
Okay. Okay. That's your point of view. Yes, Kushan?
And I would just like to add a little bit of story, because I was again just I was just trying to revisit what you was telling in that to the YouTuber over there. There's a Sandeep Patil's autobiography. I think Jamie has read it, called Sandy Storm. It was released sometime in 84 or 85. 82. Sandeep Patil scored a century, one of his 3 test hundreds, I believe, in Manchester, and where he hit Bob Willis for 6 boundaries in 7 balls. 1 ball, I think, was a no ball. It was not 6 boundaries. A lot of people think that 6 boundaries in 6 balls. It was 7 ball over. So, and he hit 6 boundaries. Before that test match, Sandeep Patil was going through a personal crisis in his personal life. And he has written that Gavaskar spoke to him, told him that what he can control and what he cannot control. He has an India career. And in that personal phase of crisis, dilemma, self-doubt, and remember, Meha, those were not the days when we understood what mental health is all about. We didn't have too many counselors. We didn't have too many people to fall back upon, and we lived in a society that was way more judgmental. It is still judgmental, but it was way more judgmental without being and ruthless also at the same time. You didn't have that shoulder. And there he found a captain in Sunil Gavaskar who told him what he could do. At least that's what is documented in that book. Sure. And it helped him. 82, 83, till the World Cup, it helped him. Before, again, he lost his form there. Obviously, he was a flamboyant character. Yeah. Was dabbling in too many things. So, but it helped. So, that was Sunil Gavaskar. Sunil Gavaskar's captaincy period is not spoken about because a lot of test matches that Mr. Gavaskar played under his captaincy, probably the Indian team actually looked to win. They were an aggressive Indian team. Sure. In 1981, 80-81, if you're drawing a test series 1-1 in Australia, you got to give the man the credit. Absolutely. And it was a young Kapil Dev. There was Karsan Ghavdi, who in his second or third spell would bowl spin. There was Dilip Doshi, who had just come in at the age of 34 because there was Vishen Bedi playing till 78, 79. Yeah. And he took that team. There was Ravi Shastri didn't play that series. He came the series just after. You had Yograj Singh, who was wayward. So these were the kind of bowling attack. Apart from Kapil Dev and to some extent Dilip Doshi, he didn't have that bowling attack. There was Shivlal Yadav.
Absolutely. But they're not world class. They're not world class. No,
and he had a drawn series over there.
Yeah, so to just see that, the difference that a nice chat with a captain can make, a heart-to-heart with a captain can make for a player. Now, talking about Sunil Gavaskar, if you all remember, just a few days back, he ran down to the Chipok to get his shirt signed by MS Dhoni, who I think a lot of Indians would believe is India's best captain. So, KL Rahul also spoke about his mentors, from whom he's learned different skills, be it MS Dhoni, Virat Kohli or Rohit Sharma. Listen into what he had to say about these three captains.
Like, I've been lucky that I've been captained by such great leaders, starting with MS Dhoni. While he was playing, he was the captain. He was my captain, my first captain. So I've seen how he's handled the team and the calmness and the things that he does behind the scene. Like I said, building that relationship with each person is something that I've learned from him. That you need to build a relationship where these boys will fight for you and with you. So that's something I learned from him. And then Virat was our leader for 6-7 years, and the things that the Indian team did under him were like, the stats are there to be seen, and it was phenomenal. Like the passion that he brought in, the aggression that he brought in, and he set the standard really high. And his way of leading and captaining was like to lead from the front and to show the team how to achieve greatness. And he did that, and we all jumped on board. Like, we all got inspired by the things that he was doing, and we tried to be a better version of ourselves. And that is something that Virat created and gave each player the power or the realization to do. That you don't have to settle for mediocre. You can like push yourself to be better, like work on your fitness, work on your diet, and like the small things that as a cricket team that we did not pay enough attention to, we started paying attention to all of these things. And like, I think the results were under Virat were because of that. And then Rohit, who's like so sharp, like, as a leader, his strategies, he does a lot of homework before the game. He knows each person's like strength and what he will do when he's put under pressure, where you need to attack him, what are his like flaws in in his technique, and like he's really, really good at strategies and understanding the game. So all these things are like things that I've learned from these people, and I've also used a little bit.
So 3 captains that he's played under, he's described their philosophies. Who do you think is your favorite captain? Who is your favorite captain? Let us know in the comment section below. But 3 different individuals there with 3 very different philosophies, Jamie. MS Dhoni, very different from Virat Kohli, and Rohit Sharma, again, different from Virat and MSD. And MSD, I think India lucked out with MSD. Just the way he was as a captain. Just how cool he was. There's something else as well he goes on to say in this interview where he says with MS Dhoni, he says, a lot of times people say that you go by your gut. Whatever your gut says, go by that. But he says with MS Dhoni, the first thing that came to his mind, he never second guessed that. If there was a thought that came to his mind and he thought this is the field placement, this is the bowling change I need to do, he wouldn't second guess it. He would just go ahead, be it right or wrong, didn't care about what the result would be. Just went with it. I wish all of us had that kind of great gut feel, because he definitely had it. But yeah, your thoughts on what he said on all 3 captains?
I mean, just pause for a moment to understand that such a wonderfully talented player like KL Rahul has had the chance to spend so many years in the dressing room with these guys, right? Especially Virat Kohli. Of course, Dhoni is Dhoni for a reason. That gut feeling. He also had a bit of luck. I think that's also not spoken about enough. But let's just look at the bigger picture. But again, Dhoni being so astute, guys who, of course, by the time KL Rahul came in, Dhoni was just going out. In fact, it was that tour when KL Rahul got his first 100 in Sydney was when Dhoni just shocked all of us by leaving midway through. But then Virat Kohli, I'm sure Virat Kohli has equally good things to say about MS Dhoni. And you see it. I mean, this pair for a while there, to me, the parallels between Kohli and KL Rahul were so stark. He got leaner. He started sporting tattoos. It's almost like KL Rahul was trying to become the next Virat Kohli, right? Which is good to a certain level. But when it comes to leadership, and Kushan knows, he's been following Delhi cricket for a long time. I mean, I've heard stories from the time this guy was captaining under 14. People said, yeah, jo bhi hai, ye ladka, ye leader hai, right? Was KL Rahul being spoken about like that? I just don't think so. And I think maybe in the middle, of course, KL Rahul has aspirations to lead India. Who doesn't? But maybe somehow he lost focus in trying to become that. And I think they gave him the captaincy. He was already 29 or 30 something in that age bracket. If you're not seen in a leadership within the Indian team by 24, 25, probably you're not going to get it. I think he got it. I don't think he was fully deserving of the chance when he got it. But just to go back to the admiration with which he speaks, it's very obvious that he would have gained so much by spending time with the likes of Kohli and Dhoni.
Kushan?
I would say like it might not sound great, but at least the proof of the pudding is in eating, Meha. And maybe he has learned, but there is nothing as cricket fans in whatever leadership, little bit of leadership we've seen, there has been anything reflective either from MS or from Rohit or from Virat. That's how I would like to put it. Because had it been so, then it would have been reflective. It would have reflected in the captaincy. Like last year, Lucknow Super Giants had a great team. They had a good team this year also, but last year they had a great team. They had a great combination going, and since the matches were not being played on home and away basis, it also helped them settle down quickly.
As a team, yeah.
I'm talking about the last season. So, and by the time they were reaching the playoffs, and in one of the matches, crunch matches, I didn't like what I saw as a leader in KL Rahul. He's a terrific batsman, but I believe who should be left alone would serve Indian cricket for another good 5, 6, 7 years. The kind of batsman the kind of range he has, unbelievable range.
Yeah.
Unbelievably good player when on song, when he's a bit of a confidence player, obviously. So on song, and someone probably who, when he starts failing, goes a bit more into his shell. Unlike Virat Kohli, who had a prolonged long patch, but you never saw him in his shell. He's always trying to be that scrappy little firefighter, trying to counterpunch.
True, true.
It's not Rahul is not. So even if he has learned, he hasn't learned that counterpunching thing from Virat Kohli.
I feel like,
or he hasn't learned to take things in stride like Rohit Sharma.
Yeah, I feel like who has imbibed this more from MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, is Hardik Pandya. But guys, completely out of time. Thank you so much for joining us here. So there you have it. The big match tonight between Royal Challengers Bangalore. They'll be taking on Sunrisers Hyderabad. Remember, the Punjab Kings yesterday lost to DC. DC had nothing to lose. They were already out of the playoffs contention. Can Sunrisers Hyderabad play party poopers tonight against Royal Challengers Bangalore? Well, RCB fans wouldn't want that. Go watch the action and come back here for the review tomorrow at the same time. For now, goodbye. Thanks for watching.